Hello everyone, and welcome to our Week 7 Team Builder for the CGC Draft League. Our Week 7 opponent is going to be the Aether Paradise Alolachus, which was formerly ran by Crystal, but unfortunately Crystal is unable to finish off the latter half of the season's matches. Fortunately and very kindly, their front office TextFont, however, has offered to take over for the rest of the main season. I'm not quite sure if Crystal was coming back for the playoffs yet or not, but regardless, the Alolachus are a massive threat. Their team is busted. Completely busted. Honestly, I knew it was already a terrifying team that I was very considerate of when I was drafting even my own team. I wanted to make sure I had a good matchup, or something that could help deal with the picks they were going for. But as my front office have worked on the prep for this week on this team, the more busted I've realised it is. There are some very sneaky and interesting tools and techs on this team that I didn't even realise until the prep for this week. I'll definitely cover one or two of those in the analysis of their team and such. So yeah, I'll quickly go over what they've drafted and then I'll show you what I've came up with. To be honest, I actually think I've got quite a decent matchup into this team though. Even though it is a very scary team and they have that scary Manaphy as kill leader, I think we've got some really good tools to help us beat this team and such. So yeah, it should be a good match. Let's go over what they're running. So we have Manaphy as their first pick. So Manaphy, I was sad to see this one go, because I think if I didn't choose Raikou, Manaphy was the one I was considering the most. It was a mon that, you don't get to often use Mythicals, and Manaphy seems like such a good, fun mon in a format like this. It's got, good stats across the board. It's space 100s all over, which means it's got, decent offense, decent speed, and decent bulk. You can kind of invest however you like each week, depending on what you're looking for. It's got plenty of great coverage. It's not just as many water types are. It's not just like a Scald Ice Beam bot. It gets Energy Ball, which is excellent to hit opposing water types. You got Dazzling Gleam, Psychic, Shadow Ball, plenty of good coverage. And of course the star of the show for Manaphy being Tail Glow, setting its special attack up by 3 stages. Insane move. And they definitely, their team, that they drafted, really just went out of its way to support Manaphy, in every step pretty much. So this Manaphy has been thriving for them so far. There's no surprise that it's the kill leader, and I'm really hoping not to contribute to that this week. So yeah, they're round 10 pick, but second in the slot, I guess, because the other A tier was Jirachi. They picked up the one. They've got 2 mythicals on the team. I cannot believe they managed to get Jirachi in round 10. We also picked up Reggie Gigas in around 10, so we're kind of the round 10 high tiers, you could say, Crystal and I. And yeah, really, really scary mon. It's a great steel type. Steel is always an excellent typing to have, and unlike a mon like Metagross that shares its typing, it's a bit more balanced across the board. You can run it both physical and special, and again, just if you want to run it fast, you can do that. If you want to run more bulky, you most definitely can do that, and it's got plenty of great coverage. The one key thing that honestly is the saving grace to everyone else's sanity in this league is that it lost the Iron Head, so that's good for us, because that would be a nightmare with that Serene Grace. But it does still get Zen Headbutt, which is a decent 40% chance to flinch, with slightly shaky accuracy. Meteor Mash is still an excellent backup, physical still move of choice, and it's got plenty of good moves on the special side too. It also gets another very interesting move, which is kind of what I'm referencing in terms of something sneaky that I didn't even realise into this draft, but I will speak about that as I've covered the rest of the team. So Raichu was their second pick, and honestly, no surprise. When they saw they picked up Manaphy, it was no surprise to see that Raichu was next. That is pretty much Crystal's signature mon, and having a Lightning Rod user, as well as a good fake out utility kind of mon, a very fast one at that, pretty much supports Manaphy perfectly. It's going to give it it's going to give it more opportunities to Tail Glow or just get more damage off in general. And Raichu is just, it's a really good mon overall. It's very hard to find a format where Raichu isn't good in some form. Even though it gets some interesting coverage options on the special side, like Surf and Grass Knot, you primarily run it as more a supportive piece, which, despite its lack of bulk, you kind of run a Sash on it, and it kind of just does the job fine. You've got Nozzle if you're looking for some speed control. I believe it gets Encore, which can be quite a pain at times. Got Volt Switch. I think it lost the Helping Hand and Electro Web, which are other really important tools in the current meta for Sword and Shield and such. But it's still a solid mon overall, and I'm definitely expecting to see this come, especially because of our Raikou and all that. You got the Moltres in the round 3, I think it was. Yeah, round 3 and 4 were Moltres and Tang respectively. Moltres is an excellent one. Very, very good pickup by them. It's got really good special attack at 125, and unlike many other fire types that are kind of a bit on the frailer side, its bulk is really good. Like, it's pretty much kind of 90s across the board. I think special attack is like 85, but you know, it's really, you kind of underestimate how bulky this thing is. And it's got decent speed as well. You know, it's a legendary mon, so it makes sense it's got such good stats, but I think people just don't respect it as much because of other fire flying types and such, and it just kind of gets outclassed in current metas. But Moltres, especially when in the BDSP meta, there's got some solid tools. You know, it's not just it's quite flexible with its fire moves as well. I believe it gets burn up, which is very cool. Means it can become the only pure flying type in this game, and it is forced to run Flame Body because of how these legendaries work in the BDSP games and such. We can't change the abilities with a patch or anything, but you know, Flame Body is kind of what you want to run anyway. It's very rare you're going to want pressure over Flame Body, to be honest. So yeah, it doesn't get Tailwind, unfortunately, for Crystal, or the Alolachus, you know, but yeah, it's a solid mon overall, and it's nice mon that complements the Raichu already. Like, you kind of be a bit more flexible with the electric weaknesses and not worry so much when you've got a Raichu as a good tool to help against that. We've got Tangrowth as the next mon. So this really is what defined Manaphy as that terrifying setup sweeper, because now they've got like great support to help it. You've got Raichu, which is already a great mon with the fake out lightning rods, and now you've got that bulky annoying grass type that can redirect moves. It's a sleep powder user as well, so you got to play very carefully around the Tangrowth. If you get put to sleep by it, then you might just end up losing immediately. If the setup starts and you can't stop it, then there's no way you're going to be able to come back from that. It's also got Regenerator, which allows it to pivot very effectively as well, which I think is what Crystal's been doing in the earlier weeks. You can set up Manaphy, you can kind of redirect, Sleep Powder with the Tangrowth, and then switch it right back out, protect the Manaphy, and then start putting on pressure with the fake out Raichu on the field again. So yeah, just a beautiful Firewater Grass core that was picked up very early on, and yeah, terrifying. Tangrowth is definitely a tricky mon to get around, and some of my team is good against it, others not. I've got enough tools, I think, to hopefully deal with it though. Fingers crossed. Dugtrio is the next mon. It's a very good mon in draft format. It's got Arena Trap, which allows you to trap mons that are grounded or not a ghost type, and the team building aspect of Draft League is always a very important factor, and Dugtrio definitely affects the way you build when you've got Dugtrio potentially to trap you in. If you get trapped in the wrong situation and you're not able to switch, then you might have to say goodbye to him on, So yeah, quite a smart pick by Crystal here, and I think it's a good chance of being brought as well to my team because of my Raikou. A great mon against Raikou, considering the Dugtrio outspeeds it as well. So yeah, solid mon. Glaceon. Glaceon's an interesting pick for sure. It's not quite as much speed, but it's got middling bulk and insane offense. I think it's probably the strongest special attacker on the team. It's mostly an ice coverage mon. It's an ice type, but it does get freeze try, which is always nice to have on an ice type, so you're not completely walled by opposing waters and such. I don't expect this mon to be brought, but if it does, I've just got to make sure to stop it from doing too much damage too quickly, either by moving first and KOing it, or maybe some damage reduction and such. We've got Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee is another fake out user, which, getting more fake out users for a team in VUC is never a bad thing by any means. I think it's got probably one of the highest attacking moves in the entire game if it runs Reckless High Jump Kick, because Reckless boosts the damage of High Jump Kick and such, so that's just a very insanely powerful move coming off a base 120 attack. Fortunately, High Jump Kick is a bit more difficult to run in VGC with Protect everywhere, so it's hard to say if that will ever be run, but it's a good move regardless, and it does get Unburden as well. It's a little bit more difficult to run Unburden in a format like this. No, don't think Normal Gen's active to help with Fake Out and such. You might have to get a little more creative with how to get it off and such, as I have been doing with my own Sceptile. But yeah, it's a very solid mon overall. It's thin as paper on the physical side, but you can run a Sash as well, which can go well with Unburden if you're just trying to get rid of it quickly. And it's got decent special bulks. It might be able to take a hit or two on that side overall. You got Venomoth in slot 9. So I still can't believe that everyone agreed that Venomoth should be D tier. This mod is insane. Let me break it down. Okay, so it's got Shield Dust as an ability. That blocks the effects of added... it blocks the effects of moves and such, so... or the added effects, I should say. So things like Fake Out, it will not flinch it. So you click Snarl into it, it will not drop its special attack. This thing gets Quiver Dance, so it can set up really effectively, and it also gets Tinted Lens. For the typing it is, like Bug Poison, you know, when Bug is resisted by so much, Tinted Lens is a superb ability, because it allows it to pretty much hit so many more things for neutral damage, and if it gets set up, like, nothing's able to take a hit from Venomoth effectively. It also gets Sleep Powder and Rage Powder, so we've got a second mon that can redirect for Mana Fee, and it can also be the setup mon itself. Venomoth is insane. I cannot believe this thing is D tier, and it makes complete sense that Crystal drafted it as soon as possible. So yeah, very scared of this thing. Just like how I was worried about the Masquerain against Grishay in week 4, I would not be surprised to see TextFont bring this to the match, and I've definitely had to be very carefully prep around it, assuming it's going to come. And Pawnee was, I guess, the round 9 pick. Regardless, it's at the bottom here, and it's a decent mon overall. It's base 105 speed, so, you know, anything faster than 100 is pretty good. It's another Fake Out user, Stab Fake Out, haha. I guess some other interesting utility moves overall. I've seen it being used quite effectively with Fake Tears. Goes very well with Mana Fee, and just the many special attackers on the team. It's a pretty specially oriented team overall. You see Mana Fee, Moltres, Tang, Galatian, Venomoth, they're all primarily special attackers. Jirachi most likely as well. Jirachi can run mixed, you know. So fake tears alongside the speed tears they've got can work very effectively overall. Switcheroo is also a very interesting move that it gets alongside the Klutz ability that it can do, because it allows it to run an item that would usually be quite negative for it, and then just switch it onto their opponent and such. So whether that be something like maybe a Flame Orb or Choice Scarf, like you can run some very tricky stuff with Lopunny. So it's a case of just figuring out what the set is and being cautious around it, I think, until we learn more info about it if brought. I don't really expect it to be brought, but you know, it definitely can be. I'd say the main ones I expect to be brought for this match, I think Mana Fee, Jirachi, Raichu and Tangrowth are pretty much guaranteed, and then a combination of either Moltres, Dugtrio and Venomoth in the last 2 slots. I'm not quite sure which one of those, but you know, that's my predictions for the match and the things I think I'm most worried about overall. So yeah, let's get over... Oh yes, I must not forget about the move on Jirachi. This thing gets Gravity. I didn't even realise it until one of my front office was designing a team idea based around the fact that Gravity is something that Jirachi gets. It's such a sought after move in VGC, I think, because it's hard to run, as not many mons can either afford to run Gravity, but in Draft League it's perfect. It's got great stats overall, it's just a solid user of it, and the fact that this team gets 2 Sleep Powder users and such, like, this is a problem. Gravity is a really cool idea, and even if it's not ran, like, just having that on the bench is something I've identified. It makes me a lot more worried as well. Like, I think the Jirachi is the one I fear the most, because I've got tools to beat the Mana Fee, and I'm really hoping to not contribute to its kill leader status this week. But Jirachi, I could see definitely give me a run for my money and such. So, but yeah, that's enough of the Alolachus team. Let's get into what we've brought this week. So we've got Raikou. I'd say it's probably going to be the MVP of this week. Very important one. We've got Thunderbolt, Snarl, Calm Mind, and Substitute. I believe another unique set. The leftovers allow it to be a bit more on the bulky side. It goes very well with the Substitute. Substitute, I think, is the play this week because not only is Raikou's speed tier really good, it pretty much outspeeds the Alolachus' entire team other than the Doug Trio, but it allows me to potentially get a sneaky Substitute against a Sleep Powder play or something. Alongside the Calm Mind and Snarl for, you know, damage control, reduction, and my own setup against the many special attackers that the Alolachus have, I think Raikou's going to be an absolute menace for TextFont this week, and I'm really hoping it's going to do a good job. There's got enough speed to jump the Raichu. We've got the special attack, I believe a stage that I'm comfortable with. I'm happy with the damage it's doing. Also, just to get a little bit more bulk in there, it complements the leftovers as well, putting us into the 16 and +1 range. So we're healing, I believe, 11 HP off of the leftovers each turn, and also allowing us to get 4, maybe even 5 substitutes off, considering the leftovers we've got. So yeah, very excited to use Raikou this week. We've got Latias in slot number 2. We've got Psychic, Shadow Ball, Tailwind, and Protect with a Life Orb. So Latias, we definitely went back and forth on the kind of set we wanted to run through it this week, because we knew it was definitely a solid mon to run, but it was just a case of which set we wanted to use. We decided that overall, just running Psychic with Life Orb is going to allow us to pretty much two-shot everything on their team, providing it's not something stupidly bulky. Shadow Ball is to allow us to deal with the Jirachi, because that's the only resist to Psychic on the team. There's no Dark type inside, which makes Latias superb in this week. And then we've got Protect as just, you know, the good old Protect if you ever need to make sure you're not taking damage, pivot effectively and all that. And Tailwind is kind of just that filler move. I wasn't really sure on what move to put here, but I decided more speed control can never hurt on the team. We're pretty fast overall. Like, I think the Alolachus are going to really struggle to keep up with the speeds we've got going, but you know, if we get in a position where Venomoth sets up with a Quiver Dance or something, then it's a good move to have, you know, just to secure the speed against that. So that's the main reason for that overall. We've got max speed, most special attack, and it doesn't really affect any of the calcs I did, and just a tiny bit in the rest of the defences overall. Reggie Gigas. So this is kind of the Sally of this week, the 6th slot that I wasn't sure on, and I think there's no really better mon than Reggie Gigas in the 6th slot if you're not sure, if you've already got Wheezing on the team. Just because it's good to threaten the Reggie Gigas Wheezing mode, even if it isn't going to be something I plan to bring. It's still a mon that they've got to prepare for and be scared of in team preview. So, you know, and it's something, and maybe, you know, depending on how the set goes, maybe I decide it is going to be good. Who knows? Crash Grip, Knockoff, Rock Slide, and Protect are the moves of choice. And we've got max speed, max attack, and a Lumberry. Lumberry might be good against a Nuzlocke Raichu, the Sleep Powders of Tangrowth and Venomoth, maybe a Skull Burn from Manaphy. So it's a good item to have overall. And the knockoff is essential for the Jirachi. Rock Slide's good against the Moltres and the Venomoth, and Crush Grip as just the good old stab, doing plenty of damage to anything at high HP. So yeah, we are running max speed on the Reggie Gigas and the Latias, as you may have noticed. Usually I'm kind of back and forth on, do I run max speed and possibly, you know, risk tires and such, and usually I just don't bother, go for a bit on the bulkier side, but I actually think just going for the max speed is worth it this week, for like the Latias against the Raichu and Gigas against the 2 base 100s of Jirachi and Manaphy, because basically if they aren't max speed, then it means our Reggie Gigas is going to speed tie, you know, at the worst, and that'd be great for me, especially as it's not even a mon I'm fully planning on bringing, but just it means that they're gonna have to worry about taking big damage before they can get any attacks off, and I don't really see putting much more bulk into Gigas being that beneficial for me overall. I think the Jirachi Manaphy want to run a bit of bulk this week, so having fast mons like this means I have an advantage if they dare go for the bulkier approach, you know. We've got Wheezing. Wheezing was essential because of the Raichu. If Raiku's going to pop off, it's important that we have Wheezing on the team, because neutralizing gas allows Raikou to thrive. Like, the fact that I know Crystal in some of the earlier matches definitely thrived on setting up Manaphy, using Tangrowth as great support to redirect and put things to sleep, often switching out back into Raichu and to getting off some fake outs, protecting, you know, just really positioning Manaphy to just swoop through teams and such. And I think Raikou is single-handedly the best mon we have on the in the entire draft league, just because with the fact we get inner focus and we also have a Wheezing to shut off the lightning rod if we have to. It's really good stuff. We've got Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, Clear Smog, and Protect with the Pineapple Berry. Pineapple Berry is to make sure we can take at least one hit from the Jirachi. Sludge Bomb, you know, the good old stab. Flamethrower also for the Jirachi, and Clear Smog is definitely not a bad move to have against a team that has a Manaphy. Protect is of course pretty obvious, and with their team being pretty specially oriented, I decided that it's more important to have Wheezing be a bit more on the specially bulky side this week overall. We got Heracross. I'm so happy to bring Heracross. It's been a very long time. We brought it weeks 1, 2, and 3, and then it's been benched for the entire season since then. But yeah, I think this is the week to finally bring it back, and I'm hoping it's going to put in a lot of work. We've got Mega Horn, Close Combat, Pin Missile, and Rock Slide. The Choice Scarf is going to be essential to outspeeding their entire team. This speed allows us to jump Dugtrio with the Scarf. And the Pin Missile is the spice. So the spice of Pin Missile is that provided I get 3 hits or more, I should be able to one-shot the Dugtrio regardless of the sash. Raichu might take a bit more if it's a sash Raichu I'm up against, might take 4 hits, but you know, it's still a good move to get around the sash, and it's mainly for the Dugtrio and such, and I think that's going to be very important to perhaps put Dugtrio in a false sense of security where it thinks it's safe, but it's not, and it might be able to get a nice surprise KO of some sort. So it also helps the Raikou, especially because I think Raikou and Heracross as a lead might be what I'm going for this first game at least. I think they're pretty effective overall. Rockslide is good against the Moltres, of course, as I can't really do much damage against it otherwise with the other moves. Same with the Venomoth. It's also not bad to have against a team that has redirection and such, you know, so if we need to hit something with a spread attack in a desperate situation, always good to have. That's why I think it's better over something like Stone Edge overall. I did go back and forth on going either Moxie or Guts, because there are definitely situations where Guts could be good, maybe a Scald Burn or a Nuzzle or something, but I think Moxie overall may allow Heracross to just start sweeping through things if it does get a boost, so yeah. That is Heracross, and then we have Sceptile in the last slot. Very spicy set this week, and I'm really hoping it's going to pop off. We've got Leaf Blade, Rock Slide, Worry Seed, and Quick Guard. I'm finally revealing the Worry Seed. So this is, I think, way back in the analysis video, I was trying to hide. I think a couple of the coaches have noticed it, but the Worry Seed is pretty much the main reason I was so hoping I could get Sceptile, and why I was so worried I wasn't going to get it in the later rounds and such, and why I picked it up as soon as I find the right opportunity to. The reason Worry Seed is so good is because I have a Reggie Gigas on my team, and what that allows me to do is Worry Seed my own Gigas and just remove the slow start, and because of Sceptile being, I think, the only fast Worry Seed user, you know, faster than Gigas in the entire game, it was the logical mon to pair up on a Draft League team with the Gigas. Of course, yeah, that's the cool idea, but it's not even the main thing I was going for with Worry Seed this week, considering I wasn't even planning on bringing the Gigas initially. The main reason for Worry Seed is just because of the Sleep Powder shenanigans that Tangrowth may be trying to spread. Being able to click Worry Seed into my ally and just wake them up immediately should allow us to keep up a lot of momentum overall. And the Quick Guard, again, we're going up against a lot of team with Fake Outs, so I think it should be the right move to catch them off guard. We've got a very tricky Sceptile, which will hopefully put in a lot of work this week overall. Focus Sash allows a bit of security against any attack. We've got the Unburden. I went back and forth on Overgrow or Unburden. I'm not sure what's going to be better, but the idea of Unburden is to make sure we can survive maybe like a Bug Buzz from Venomoth if it gets to +1, and then outspeed it the next turn. And of course we've got the Rock Slide once again for that Venomoth and Moltres if we do so need it. And yeah, Sceptile is also pretty good overall against the Manaphy. So we've got two Mons that hit Manaphy for super effective damage and outspeed it. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about the team this week. I'm just really hoping that we're able to pull it off, because we're so close to the clean sweep 8-0, and I would love to get that if it's possible. So yeah, very much looking forward to the battle. Yeah, I will see you then, hopefully. Thank you for tuning into this team builder, and I will see you in the match against TextFont. Take care, everyone.